Welcome into Locked On 76ers. Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta. More news continues to come out around Ace Bailey surrounding Wednesday's NBA draft and the 76ers' number 3 overall selection, as well as Tyrese Maxey's impact on the Sixers draft strategy. We'll break it all down on this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This particular episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code Locked On NBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Keith, first thing I want to get into in a very busy weekend for the NBA, between the NBA Finals, between Kevin Durant and that trade with the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. More news just continues to come out, as one would expect, regarding the NBA draft, in particular, Ace Bailey. Now, on Friday's edition of NBA Today on ESPN, Brian Windhorst just said a lot of things that we've been saying and a lot of people have been saying regarding Ace Bailey. Quote, he's a dangerous pick, and he's also the type of pick that could get an NBA GM fired. Now, this is the part that got the wheels spinning in my head here. If you're a GM that's going to take Ace Bailey, according to Brian Windhorst, you better be in good standing. In other words, you got to be pretty confident that you're going to be around for a minute because, A, he's a project. He's not just going to come in and all of a sudden be an all-star, that kind of thing. And B, you're going to be looking at a situation where it's going to take time to develop the player and also take time for his maturity, as that's been in question, to develop as well as his on-court game. What do you make of that assessment when it comes to Brian Windhorst looking at Ace Bailey?
Well, basically, Brian Windhorst was telling Daryl Morey, if you draft him, you're a fool. He was basically saying you can't do this. Or either saying look, y'all, the 76ers aren't going to draft them because when we think about good standing, this is a make or break year for Daryl Morey, right? So when he comes out and says that, he knows that this is a make or break year for Daryl Morey. So he's basically saying that the 76ers can't draft them because of that. And when I listen to this, it just seems like a lot of people are high on Ace Bailey, like a lot of the fans and stuff like that. But when I listen to stuff like that Brian Windhorst is saying that other people are saying, what it's actually doing is giving the Sixers more and more reasons why not to draft them. Like giving the excuses like, okay, right, well, we're not going to get him because look at all the things that he's done, and people will understand it more. But yeah, I get it. Like Windhorst, to me, again, is basically giving reasons why the 76ers shouldn't draft them. And if Daryl Morey does draft them, he could be in trouble. Like your job is not safe by drafting this guy.
Look, I want, as I think every Sixers fan wants, you want the Sixers to take the best players to have the best NBA career. I don't want to take who's best for Daryl Morey and his career. I don't want to take who's best right now because the Sixers are still holding out hope that everyone's going to be healthy and they're going to reap the fruits of all their labor over the years and all that. I want them to take the best possible players to have the best possible NBA career. That's who I want them to take. I don't want Morey's situation factoring into it, and I don't want to look at the way Markelle Fultz worked out. I don't want to look at the way Ben Simmons worked out and have that impact how I'm approaching this draft. Do you think the Sixers are factoring all that into it? And do you think Daryl Morey is on a hot enough seat where he has to take a more NBA-ready player?
I mean, that's a great question, Mark, because you everything you're saying is right. But at the same time, it is survival mode, right? People are looking out and saying, I need to do something to ensure that I'm going to be here. It's kind of like you never recruit a guy for the next coach. It's like you want to get someone for yourself. And getting a guy that's more NBA ready, I get it. Tyrese Halliburton went down yesterday. All prayers to him and this and that. He's going to be out for a while with Indiana Pacers next season. But at the same time, can we look at the 76ers team and say, without a doubt, they're going to be a contender next year? No. Like, what you have to do is the best bet is getting a guy who you can develop long-term with Tyrese Maxey. That's what you have to do. And that's how you're going to win, because NBA ready, yes, NBA ready doesn't always translate to upside to win a championship. It's just a guy, that they have already reached their ceiling a lot of times. And according to some reports, there are not a lot of guys here that's going to help the 76ers next year. So you might as well continue to swing for the fence.
I'd say I'm right there with you with everything. Now, two things. One, to go back to the Windhorst comment, you mentioned earlier, you're talking about the near future with this Sixers team and where they could be headed with Tyrese Maxey, and not only the draft picks development, but Tyrese Maxey's development. How much do you think the Maxey timeline, away from Daryl Morey, just Maxey, how much do you think his timeline affects what the Sixers do in this draft?
I think a lot. I mean, basically, I think with the fact that when Edgecombe did come and interview with the 76ers, the fact that Tyrese Maxey was the person who went to dinner with him speaks volumes. Now, again, you can argue that, okay, other people weren't around, this and that, but they said that Maxey flew in for the meeting, right? So how come Paul George didn't fly in for the meeting? Or what about Embiid? You know what I mean? The fact that they wanted Maxey there, and the fact that they're letting it be known that Maxey is untouchable, right, is basically letting me know that that's a major factor, because they know they need somebody to move forward with Maxey just because of the other thing, Embiid's health, Paul George's age, his health. So, yeah, that's extremely vital.
So, Keith, to go back to what you were saying about Brian Windhorst and kind of everyone coming out of the woodwork saying that there's this worry about Ace Bailey, it's almost as if they're tying the Sixers' hands in a way, saying, look, everybody told you immaturity, don't deal with the agent like this, bad advice, but more so the immaturity, and talking about a guy that you don't know if he's ever going to reach his upside. I think that kind of puts the Sixers also in a really bad spot, too, to draft Ace Bailey, saying, look, all the warning signs were out there. The red flags were up, and not only were they red flags that were hoisted, they were highlighted by just about every talking head out there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But you know what? It's weird because I feel like the guy is just getting some poor guidance, right?
Right.
Because aside from that, like if this guy was getting better guidance and he was still making these decisions and doing the things that he's doing, then I would be like, okay, maybe not. But at the same time, it's one of these things here. They're bringing that up, but it also comes down to a team with their culture. It comes down to the leadership, the guys who are the leaders, taking them under his wing. There's a lot of things. Like I always felt like if a player is good enough, you're going to take him. Like, you know what? Allen Iverson. You going to tell me there weren't any red flags there? Like there's a guy who didn't play, his senior year in high school because he was incarcerated, right? Mm-hmm. A guy who, yes, he went to Georgetown, and John Thompson was a mentor to him, but there were red flags, right? And then AI, you know what? He had his posse with him, his friends and stuff like that. But at the same time, AI was the man. AI was that guy. So no one really talked about it. People might have complained, but it wasn't like a major issue. You know what I mean? So to me, I always hear we hear about these red flags, but it's always like if you're like the unquestioned number one player, oh well, we'll deal with it. we'll try to get them in our culture. So I don't know. It's to me when people say that it's very subjective.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you there. When we come back, I know we've mentioned the VJ. We've talked about VJ Edgecombe a lot. There's obviously other guys in the draft that we do like. We don't think are going to just be busts or anything like that. Trey Johnson, I think, is going to have a very good NBA career as well. But VJ Edgecombe is the guy we focused on because the 76ers raved about him. All the reports out there about how much he crushed his interview. There was one report, though, that came out actually earlier this morning saying that VJ Edgecombe struggled in one area of the meeting, and some might say it's actually the most important. Maybe not the Sixers, but some might say it's the most important. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. You guys have heard me mention Olipop before, the new kind of soda made for people who love the classic taste of soda but want something that supports their health. Just 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can. Olipop is reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. Traditional sodas are loaded with sugar, like 39 grams in a regular Coke or 44 grams in Orange Fanta. Olipop flips the script with just a fraction of the sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and gut-friendly ingredients like Ollie Smart, a blend shown to support digestive and overall health. It's a soda that tastes like the real thing, but actually does something good for your body. What flavor is going to be your first? Cherry Cola, Classic Grape, or maybe Dr. Goodwin, their Dr. Pepper dupe? It's fantastic. All of it with Olipop. Get a free can of Olipop. Just buy 2 cans in store, and they'll reimburse you for one. Head to drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. That's drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That's drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. So, Keith, this report came out, and you brought this to my attention. It's from ESPN, Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Wu, saying that the 76ers in the upcoming draft, Wednesday night's NBA draft, are not going to select Ace Bailey in their mock draft, but in fact, they are going to select VJ Edgecombe. Now, despite them saying Edgecombe's going to the Sixers, this report was in there. According to sources, VJ Edgecombe appeared nervous during his private workout in Philadelphia and did not shoot the ball particularly well in an unnatural one-on-one setting. He made a strong impression in interviews and meetings, something the front office values more highly. Now, look, that is not a damning piece of information. He didn't have a good one-on-one game, all right? That's from all I see of him at Baylor, he's pretty damn good at basketball, okay? I'm not going to lose my mind over it. But what's a little bit more inside, and Keith, you could speak to this certainly, is that they're like, yeah, the hell with the workout, but the interview, oh, man. There are a lot of times where guys just interview well, get the job, not prepared for the job. What do you make of the Sixers placing more emphasis on the interview than the actual one-on-one game, the actual playing of the game during the meeting?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me, and I get it. I understand you scouted the guy. You scouted him. You did extensive work to figure out who he is. But at the end of the day, he's not a professional basketball player or going to be a professional basketball player because he's a nice guy. Right. He's a professional basketball player because of his ability to play ball. And if there are questions and concerns about his shooting going into the draft and you work him out and he struggles in it and he looks nervous in it like that, to me, it's kind of like I'm concerned about that. You know what I mean? You should be concerned about that because it's one thing if you're hiring him to be on the business side, to be the team spokesman. But if you're hiring him to make baskets and help you win games, you have to have some concern. Now, the one thing you say is an unnatural drill that they had him in. So, in other words, it's kind of like a natural one-on-one setting. Well, I mean, when we saw Markelle Fultz, this is crazy. And I'm going to bring this up. So they had De'Aaron Fox and Markelle Fultz working out on the same day. Now, at the time, they said De'Aaron Fox wasn't that good. He was a good scorer, this and that, but he wasn't a good shooter, what have you. And Markelle Fultz was supposed to be a good, shooter, all that. Mm-hmm. Well, De'Aaron Fox does and Markelle do the same drills. De'Aaron Fox basically looks great in these drills in front of the media. Well, next thing you know, Markelle comes in hours later, and he's struggling mightily. He struggled so bad that the Sixers, Brian Colangelo looked over at us, and also people told him that people were posting this stuff on Twitter, now X, but they were posting it on Twitter, and with comments, they abruptly stopped the workout. Just shut it down, right? And then, saying, oh, he's a great guy, he's this and that. So when I hear stuff like this, again, he may be a great guy. and he may have been nervous, but they were telling us Markel was nervous. They was telling us that Markel was rusty and things like that. And then we come later find out that Markel wasn't, he struggled that year shooting the ball. And he only played in 30-something games as a Sixers. So when I hear things like that, it just gives me a little bit of pause, just because we've seen this before. We've seen the excuses that were made, but we saw how it all worked out for the 76ers. So again, all of it could be true, but when I hear a report like this, I get a little nervous just because of the things that we've been through before.
Oh, sure. If Markel Fultz was nervous then, how's he going to feel in front of 20,000 fans at the Wells Fargo Center? That might be a little nerve-wracking at the time. So I think what some people might take away is they valued the conversation more than they valued playing the game. Like, yeah, we get it. It's a weird situation. Unnatural is the word that they used in the article there, in the mock draft. Unnatural is the word. But for me, it's still the game. And I know that we're comparing this to literally nothing because the other guy, Ace Bailey, of many other guys, but the main other guy, Ace Bailey, didn't even do it. Scheduled it after all the great reports came out about VJ Edgecombe and then canceled it for what you told us last week was no other reason than the Sixers wouldn't guarantee him the 3rd overall pick or taking him at number 3. With all this being said and all this factoring into it, are you leaning towards any direction that you think the Sixers will go in when it comes to just the choice between just these two players, one that is interviewed with them and one that is canceled?
You know what? I'm not, it's weird. It's weird based off of the reports and everything that they're saying. It seems as if the Sixers are trying to find a reason to draft VJ Edgecombe and letting out all the reasons why not to draft Ace Bailey. You know what I mean? Like when you say, oh, the interview meant more to us. Oh, he's just this great guy. He's this, he's that. And then the other person, like, the fact that it was leaked, that the workout was canceled, all these other things. It just seems to me like I'm not leaning towards one, but it seems to me that, and I could be wrong, but it's set up for if they draft Edgecombe, there are going to be a lot of people in Philadelphia who wanted Bailey at one particular time are going to say, okay, I understand it. They got the good guy. They got the guy who we can build with. We could build
right.
with.
In Edgecombe.
Yeah, but they wanted Bailey. But then when you get Edgecombe, you can say, we got the guy that you could build upon, a better guy, personality-wise. He's a hard worker. He's yada, yada. We just have to be patient with him.
Right. So let us put it like this. I'm sure you're familiar with these scenarios as well, but I know everything that's coming out is negative about Ace Bailey, about playing. He's playing the off the court game of the NBA. He's playing the business aspect of the game right now, where he's not going out there for workout for teams. He's not going out there meeting with teams. He's playing the business side of it, and a lot of that might be bad guidance. However, on the other side of it, I think the Sixers are playing the game here too, Keith, because the Sixers could be playing this avenue, playing this a bunch of different ways. One is to just release everything, let everything leak about the canceling of the workout, maybe let it leak that they weren't going to guarantee him the number 3 overall pick. Just let all these things out there, and maybe he falls out of favor elsewhere. The classic term is smoke screen. The smoke screens don't come from the player. The smoke screens come from the team. Yeah, things might leak out about the specific player, but really it's about the team strategy and the direction that they want to go. So I know we all focus on Ace Bailey. Oh, this guy doesn't really care. He just wants to, trying to get the biggest bag possible. And I'm like, yeah, I think most people would. Would they go about it in the same way? Probably not. But I also think on the other side of it, while Ace Bailey's camp is playing games, I think the Sixers are also playing the game as well. Is that a fair assessment of the situation?
Yeah, you're right. And the more you talk, league executives will tell you, don't believe anything you hear or read 2 days leading up to the draft. They just don't do it.
Unless it's by Keith Pompey. That's what they say. Unless it's by Keith Pompey.
Unless it's by Keith Pompey. Great.
Specifically, I thought that was really weird. Adam Silver told me that once. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's my man. He knows the deal. But anyway, so they say typically, you know, because what happens is, you know, the days before leading up, a lot of teams will put out stuff just for you say for the smoke screen thing, for you to think something like, for instance, prime example, if they really want Ace Bailey, but they want everybody to think they're going after, and maybe I'm falling for it, but if they really want Ace Bailey, but they want everybody to think that they're going to go after VJ Edgecombe, then all of a sudden whoever wants VJ Edgecombe may trade up and take him, right? Or if it's because they're saying that, you know, Charlotte likes him, right? So maybe Charlotte will say, okay, I'll move up one spot to get him. I'll give you a lot. And then all of a sudden the Sixers take Ace Bailey number 4, if that's what it is. So who knows? I mean, we'll figure out stuff come Wednesday in 2 days, but this could be the way that they're doing things. So who knows?
We focus on the word unnatural, but I want to focus on another word from this article from Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Wu on ESPN with their mock draft taking Edgecombe at 3 for the Sixers. The other word is nervous. Edgecombe appeared nervous during the private workout. You know who didn't look nervous? Actually, maybe even overconfident? Ace Bailey, because he was so cocky and confident he didn't even think he needed a workout, at least not right now. So the word nervous definitely leans a little bit more towards the Markel Fultz Avenue. And yes, is that a giant leap? It's a giant leap. But the word nervous in the interview doesn't exactly hit the ear right. When we come back, there was a mega huge Kajunga trade in the NBA yesterday. Some might even say a blockbuster, how that might affect the 76ers, and also our final thoughts on the NBA finals that took place with the Oklahoma City Thunder taking the title for OKC. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. You guys have heard us talking a lot about Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did the money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. You have to think of it as a financial command center. It's wonderful. When I started using Monarch Money, I realized just how much money I'm spending on food delivery. That sneaks up on you. Managing your money also with your partner. Let's say you just got engaged, you just combined finances, you just moved in with one another, just got married, whatever the case might be. Monarch Money helps you track all of that with your partner on shared accounts, personal accounts. You can set goals. You can stay on the same page without all the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use promo code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Kevin Durant. Many people anticipated a trade. It looked like he was going to go either to the Rockets or the Miami Heat. We're trying to bang down the door as well. What did you make of Kevin Durant going to the Rockets?
As they say, whatever. Like, it didn't really mean any. I mean, to me,
I'm with you.
Okay.
For the record, I'm with you.
Right. I mean, yeah, I wasn't, to me, it's just like, okay, so OKC just won the championship. They got these young guns, right? Mm-hmm. So Houston was number 2 in the regular season. But I don't see KD going there beating OKC to win it, to get out of the Western Conference. Now, I just don't see it, right? And I do not see the Phoenix Suns getting any better with another shooting guard. And granted, they got Dylan Brooks, who can be an agitator, but it just seems to me that Dylan Brooks has worn out his welcome in Memphis and now Houston, and now he's going here, right? So I don't see it. To me, the perfect place for KD, with all this being the Eastern Conference so wide open, is Miami. You look at him and you say he's a better player than Jimmy Butler, right? So you look at him and he goes there with Bam and Tyler Hero, and you say to yourself, wow, now we're talking. this team may be able to come out of the East, right? But the problem is they didn't have the assets to give the Phoenix Suns or the players that they had. They were like trying to get rid of role players. So with that being said, yeah, he gets to go to Houston. I get it. He's going to be with Ime. He's going to mentor these young guys. They're going to have young guys around him. But I do not see them coming out of the West. I felt like the best fit for him would have been the Miami Heat, and they would have been able to make some noise, in my opinion.
I think you're absolutely right. The only other thing is I think the best possible fit for the Sixers is that he does not go to the Eastern Conference. So
yeah, it worked out for the Sixers.
It could not have worked out better for the 76ers. Absolutely. Could not have worked out better for them. Now they just have to be good enough to even warrant the thought of lasting that long to be able to make it out of the Eastern Conference, which, I'll cross my fingers for. I won't bet on it, but I'll cross my fingers for it. Now, as far as the NBA Finals go, a distant travel for the 76ers to get to, I feel like right now. Absolutely incredible. 7 games. The only thing that, look, I wasn't rooting for anybody really in the finals. I just wanted to see a good finals, and I got that. I just felt like the final 3 quarters of a 7-game series, we were robbed of everything it really could have been due to the unfortunate nature of an injury like the one Tyrese Halliburton suffered. Comes back from the calf injury. I was joking with you on Friday about how I want whatever they gave him before Game 6 because I could barely mow my own lawn, let alone play at an NBA basketball game. And he comes back from the injury. He balls out in that. He plays great in that game. Then he also goes into Game 7. He's on a little bit of a heater, 3 threes right out of the gate. And then he blows out his Achilles. And I don't know about you, Keith, but I can watch a lot of different injuries. When I watch something that's non-contact and it's just a guy blowing the worst possible tire, and you see the little twin, the little tweak, whatever, that just it really does break my heart for that guy, especially that he had 3 quarters in front of him plus in that game to try to help his team win an NBA Finals, man. It was absolutely wild. But hey, congrats OKC. I know someone, believe it or not, that's a diehard OKC fan, so congratulations to them. But 3 quarters away from what could have been a photo finish, if you will, at the end.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking to look at, and you felt really sadly for him. Here's the thing, Mark, and I'm thinking about this. We always talk about this era of athletes where they think more of self than they do the team.
Sure.
And then here's a guy who's banged up, and he could have easily said, you know what? My calf is strained. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't go. You know what I mean? I just can't do it. I'm sorry. But he sucked it up and he played. And then because of that, they said Tatum was dealing with calf discomfort. They also said Dame Lillard, the same thing, right? And then all of a sudden that led to all 3 of these guys blowing out their Achilles. To me, now players are going to be like, they're going to be like Ricky Waters. For who? For what? I'm not doing that. Like, oh yeah, you need me to win a championship? Oh, we're there? Bro, I'm sorry. I'm not playing. Because it comes to a point where we're looking at this and his next season is basically over. He's not going to play next season. So, and he may not, hopefully he'll come back to be the same player that he was. But at the same time, it's kind of like people are going to look at it like it's too much money involved for me to sacrifice myself for this team to where I may not get that money back. Like, as far as an extension and things like that. And I'm afraid that their guys are going to be nicked up. In this era, we know players don't play like they did in the past. But what this is going to do is give someone another excuse why not to leave it all out there on the floor. And that's what he did. He essentially literally left it all out there on the floor. And I think that is going to happen is there's going to be less and less players doing the same thing now. They're like, forget that. For who? For what? That's what they want to say.
Yep. I'll never forget. A question was posed to Aaron Rowan of the Philadelphia Phillies after that play where he smashed his face into the wall. I think that was 2006. He was like, a former athlete said, for who, for what in this city? Why did you do it? And he said, for who? my teammates for what? To win. And I'm like, can we have that mentality in every one of these players, please? Because every league would be a lot better place. And you're not going to have guys like Ace Bailey, spin it back to him, canceling workouts, unfortunately. Keith, I know. Hey, look, I know you got a busy schedule this week. We're gonna be still doing Locked On 76ers throughout the week. We will adjust to your schedule, my friend. And we got so much to get into as Wednesday's draft gets closer and closer. Keith, always a pleasure, brother.
Always a pleasure, my man.
All right, we'll break it down further. This is Locked On 76ers. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Tomorrow, one thing I definitely want to get into is the best case scenarios for the Sixers. Our top 3 best case scenarios for the Sixers going into the draft. I want to break that down with you guys tomorrow. We'll also continue to talk about whatever comes out surrounding the Sixers and the upcoming NBA draft. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on Locked On 76ers. And thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen today. For your second listen, make sure you guys check out Locked On NBA Big Board Show, where NBA draft expert Rafael Barlow reacts to every workout, interview, and rumor leading up to the NBA draft. Find Locked On NBA Big Board on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks, everyone. Catch you tomorrow. See you.